everybody. Thank you very much for joining us here on our latest Restless Presents event. This evening's event should be a really interesting one. We are looking at how we as women can use our instincts as a tool to protect ourselves. I am delighted to introduce you to your host this evening, Elisabetta Massey, who is joining us from Southampton. Elisabetta is originally from Rome and spent many decades living abroad in the Middle East with her husband and son. Whilst living in the Middle East, Elisabetta discovered a love for martial arts when she began Taekwondo classes. Years later, she found herself teaching martial arts to girls at a school in Bahrain. Since then, Elisabetta has embarked on a self-defense teacher training course and continued to teach teenage girls in Bahrain. Elisabetta is a passionate advocate for women trusting their intuition and learning enough skills to defend themselves. And she is delighted to share her knowledge with us all this evening. So before I hand over to Elisabetta, if you have been with us before at a Restless Presents event, you will know that we always ask you to switch on your videos if you're comfortable to do so. It's much nicer for all of us to see each other's faces if possible. Any tech issues, my colleague Gaetano is on hand at your service to help. So please just put any comments in the chat box. You'll see the button for that at the bottom of your screens. Please feel free also to ask any questions about Elisabetta's presentation all the way through this evening, and we'll get to them at the end. You can also raise your hand using the reactions button and ask a verbal question if you'd prefer to do it that way. So now I am going to hand over to Elisabetta. Elisabetta.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Hope everything is okay. So tonight I will talk about the personal safety, but from the situational awareness point of view. As you can hear, I'm Italian, and hopefully my accent won't, I won't make a mistake with my accent. So what I want to do tonight is I want to introduce you to some techniques that have been developed by the US military forces. Those techniques, those skills, though, even though it's for combat, are techniques that can be used everywhere from anyone, okay? Because everyone in this planet exhibit a universal behavior, a behavioral pattern, we can use those patterns to identify potential threats. And I therefore want to introduce you to those skills and how we can comfortably build those skills. So first of all, though, it's been working until now, my screen, and now, okay. First of all, I want to read for you this quote that's been written by Kevin De Baker, that he wrote a wonderful book called The Gift of Fear. We cannot change or eliminate all dangerous people in the world. What we can change is our ability to deal with them. So there are unfortunately, two kinds of violence that we need to deal every day. There are spontaneous violence and premeditated. The spontaneous is an act of violence that occurs when somebody becomes aggressive and may be violent due to your action and behavior in a particular situation. You are in a parking lot, you are looking for a parking, you are going to park and somebody thought that was his parking lot and he became very aggressive to you. So you cannot preview this kind of behavior. Premeditated is an act of violence that has been committed by people that plan this violence. So premeditated violence can be predicted because it follows, as we said, a set path made by people with behavioral pattern. And I want to show you this video. Okay, this video is from Germany, I think. And apart from those two kind of violence, there is another one that is becoming very trendy, and it's called recreational violence. So what you just witnessed is one of those recreational violence. And I think there's been one recently in one of these Morrison supermarket when an adult, a male adult, was just pushed down just for no reason. But it's never the victim's fault. So the victim is never responsible for being a target. Their silence action is always premeditated, and it always have a process that they operate to, and it's called the modus operandi. Here I wanted to show you this image of the two lions with the zebra. Why? Because the lions, they will attack the most vulnerable one. How, but human being, how we do it? In the 1984, two scientists, they decide to do an experiment. They call some inmate. They took a video of a very busy road in New York, 24 hours, and then they asked those inmates, look at the video and tell me which is going to be, which victim you will be choose. And all of them, they choose more or less the same victim in less than 7 seconds. So for a criminal to understand if we can become a victim, it takes only 7 seconds. And most of the time it was, the explanation was the way that we walk. So if we walk with confidence, if we look in front of us, if you are aware, you won't become a victim. So an assailant, remember, as always, criminal has always an intent and mean and an opportunity, whether it's a mugger or a rapist, in order to attack you. But if we deny one of those 3 points, we will make difficult for him to pursue his intent. Because remember, a criminal is an opportunist. He needs to, he want to pursue his intent, but he want to do it fast. And he doesn't want to be recognized. So if you fight back, or better, you walk with some confidence, he won't attack you and you won't become his victim. Another thing that's different from us is a criminal that always have a plan and they know how to deal. So he's planning to need money, he's planning to mug you, he will do it. A rapist, he will do it. However, we don't have a plan. When we go out, we don't thinking, oh, what am I going to do if today this happened to me? So, and therefore we don't know how to deal with anything. Even though I come from martial art, I learn that punch and kicks not always they are working. And the fighting, remember, is always the last resort. So even though you see in the movie all this fight, first of all, because it takes 30 seconds to be brought on the floor. And if you go on the floor, you lose your fight. Secondly, the man in front of you can have a weapon, so can have a gun or worse, a knife. Sorry, I've got a cat coming through. And and another thing is worse, he can have a mate. So you think you have one person in front of you, you know, especially a lot of kids out of disco and they start to fight, unfortunately found themselves in trouble because then their mates come and help them. And so the best strategy always is to avoid and to run, okay? And therefore, what I want to say is prevention. So your safety is actually to prevent an assault, okay? Is prevent to become a victim. If your lifetime you will not meet any criminals, is because your prevention has been worked, okay? And the first steps for the prevention, the steps of the prevention are the state of mind, awareness, and also the last one is follow your survival instinct. State of mind, because you need to have the state ready, mind ready. So first of all, it's vital that you recognize that there are threats around us and the criminal do exist. And because without acceptance, you will not be aware or practice awareness. So I want to show you a video now, and then we discuss what's happened. Okay, so this is, what do you think she was lacking? She was lacking what we call awareness. What is situational awareness? Situational awareness, being aware of what is happening around us, around you, in terms of where you are supposed to be, and whether anyone or anything around you is a threat to your health and safety. So this is an explanation from the health and safety executive here in UK. So in other words, situational awareness is the knowledge of where you are. It seems a common sense to be aware, but actually when I walk around nowadays, everybody are on the phone, nobody's pay attention at what really happened around them. Okay, those are videos. As you can see, they are not live, but unfortunately, those are examples of what really can happen. It doesn't happen, unfortunately, so often, because a random attack, unfortunately, for the 80% the men are the victim of a random attack. We as a women, unfortunately, we become a victim of domestic violence more, okay? But unfortunately, it's rare, but it can happen. So without situational awareness, we are likely to be blinded, like the girls, of a violent confrontation. By being aware of any changes, you give yourself the advantage of time. For example, she was coming out from the gym. If she saw somebody in the car a little bit dodgy, she could go inside and ask for someone, can you come with me in my car? I rode in like the guy that is there. And nowadays, everybody does it because everybody knows what happening, how women can be in danger. So nobody would mind just to come with you in the car. And time to assess the situation and act. Maybe there is, but it's not just for a violent attack. Your situational awareness is important for everything. Smell from the kitchen that can tell you there is a fire, or unfortunately some airplane crashes when an airplane landing gear working system turning red and nobody saw because they were doing something else, or the sound that someone is coming close to you from behind because you have headphones. But be aware, again, of situational awareness is not create a state of paranoia. You just can live, a normal life. Just be aware what you are. And why? Because constantly scanning an environment, actively, looking for sign of trouble is the main issue. We are not able, our brain is not able to pay attention to everything all the time. We would like to be a Superman, but we are not. So it's impossible for us to be aware for all the information that we are receiving all the time.
This
an awareness,
is an awareness
Look
test.
at this and tell me.
How many passes does the team in white make? Go! The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Did you see? Me neither the first time. Go! Look carefully. So it's easy to miss something that you're not looking for. So this one was an advertise for an English advertise for preventing cycling accident, because there's been a time where lots of cycling that had died for with a car accident. What happened is that when we focus, see, someone told you, look, count how many times the ball is passed, and therefore your focus, it goes on one side and you miss the rest. So what we can do is we can use our natural detection mechanism to improve awareness, and we can spot the danger. So let's see what they are, the psychological and physiological involvement. So our mind are a product of hundreds of thousands of years of natural selection. In other words, we are hardwired to detect threats. And we use this innate skill unconsciously to protect ourselves. Many times you probably felt something on your, on your gut, or something you felt not right. What happened is that our brain is organized to identify patterns, and from our ancestors, we learn that certain shapes represent danger. I want to show you these two photos. See what you think. This is the first one. And this is the second one. So, what did you see first? Did you see the snake? Did you see the angry face first? So what happened with our brain is that we tend to locate quickly the threatening elements over the non-threatening elements. So we have an innate detection mechanism for a number of threatening stimuli, like detecting an angry face. So the ability to detect the threats is so hardwired in us that we can detect danger even before we actually see danger. And obviously, for an evolutionary point of view, this is make sense, because the faster we react, and then we have a chance to survive. And then again, so these feelings are in us. So it happened many times. The women that have been attacked, for example, from their partner, and they survived, the majority don't, but the few that survived, they said, I felt something, but I couldn't believe that he could have going to hurt me. But they all felt something. So everyone should listen to their feelings, because they are there for a reason. Don't think you are silly. Just bring, if you don't feel right, it means the situation is not right. Okay. Another video.
Fear is so important for our survival, we do something absolutely remarkable. Our bodies begin to react to a threat before we're even consciously aware of what the threat might be. Because when we're faced with danger, milliseconds count. At the first hint of danger, early warning signals are sent to the brain via the optic nerve to our tiny and primitive fear center, the amygdala. This prepares our body for action. Next, nerve pulses are fired down the spinal cord to the adrenal glands near our kidneys. This triggers a release of adrenaline. Now we're on full alert. Adrenaline is the vital hormone that can flood our body in a split second. As it reaches our lungs, we breathe more deeply and take in more oxygen. It also makes our heart beat faster. Oxygen-rich blood is diverted to our muscles. They are now charged springs, waiting for the signal to run or fight. All this before our conscious mind has even registered a threat. This reaction to fear has evolved over millions of years and is known as the fight or flight response.
So did you find yourself very often in a fight or flight response? Probably even in front of your boss, or, you know, anyway. What happened is that we have a system, and that is called the reticular activating system, which is a bundle of nerves just in our brainstem. The RAS is filtering all the unnecessary information. You remember we said that our brain can't cope with all this information. So this system, they said this one goes, this one no, this one goes, this one no. So at any given moment in our daily life, that we are bombarded by sight, sound, smell, taste, and tactile input. And because it's impossible for us to be aware of all the sensory information, the brain has this power mechanism to select the information. So when our brain detects something that we saw before, a shape that for us represents a threat, like I don't know, the how do you call it, the fin of the shark outside the water, that we know they represent a threat. So the RAS send the impulse, we start to be awake, alert, and it warns us that there is a change, something is changing around us. So again, look at this picture. Right, if you saw did you see the star and the arrow first? And here, did you see the birds first? Because of what happened with our beautiful brain is not just that we detect odd shape that for us they represent a threat, but we gone further our abilities. In this case, we saw the birds even before they recognize the grass, or we saw the star and the arrow before you see the dots. So our brain is an expert to spotting the odd in any given pattern. So in the same way we spotted the birds in the grass, we can spot anomaly in patterns in our daily life, as long as we are not looking for them. Because when we are bombarded too much with information, we won't see them. And how we do that? So we doing, that's what is the program of the US create. It's called baseline. What is a baseline? A baseline, it was with the normality in front of us, every day. It's the normative for any situation, environment, or person. So us, like a human, we like consistency, we like pattern, we like to predict. So as we go through our day, we are looking for that, sorry, my pronunciation, predictability, okay? And the foundation of this baseline is line on our experience, our hardwire, our knowledge. Our brain can recognize threaten, our brain can recognize those patterns, okay? So it's all through the learning, through instruction and experience. On the other hand, we have anomalies, and what the anomalies are anything in contrast with the baseline. So for example, you go always to your local supermarket, and you know the flow of the people that go in and out. You know that the people goes in, they choose something, then they go to the cashier, they pay, and they go. What would be an anomaly is someone, they go in the supermarket, for example, with a thick jacket, maybe in summer, and not buy anything, okay? If I've got another minute. For example, even recently we're talking about the attack that was in London in the fishmonger room where the 2 students have been killed by. So the problem is he was the only one wearing a quilt. Everybody else they're wearing a shirt, but nobody realized or was aware that that was something odd. And he was wearing it because he was hiding the knife, okay? But nobody was aware that that was something odd. It was an anomaly. For example, you're going to pick up your grandson or son every day at 3 o'clock at school. School, playground, full of kids. Every day, that's your normality. You know, that's normal, voice of kids. But one day, you go at the same time and the playground is empty. Don't you think that that would be an anomaly? So that will start to give you an idea that probably something is wrong. Okay, that is an anomaly. So we identified what's happening is that as a brain, as a person, when we go around, we establish our daily baseline wherever we go. And then we leave it to our instinct to work, because any anomaly will come clear. So scientifically, it's better to focus on understanding what is normal in any situation or person and let the intuition spot the anomaly rather than look for the sign of danger, because they lack the unconscious ability to spot the break in the pattern that is all hardwired in us, and the anomaly will become apparent. Obviously, you'll still need to be aware of your surroundings, not looking at the phone. A quick video for you.
Here's your challenge. How many people in orange shirts get subs? Go.
It's a trick.
Seven people in orange shirts got subs. But what else did you see? Did you notice the ice cream truck change to a pizza truck? Did you notice the glasses? What about the man leaving the suspicious package next to the truck? Your next challenge, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Okay, this is from the United States, but nowadays, unfortunately, this is the world that we live in, and looking for a package left unattended is paramount, you know. So, oh gosh, so what happened? We establish our baseline. We establish that we saw something that is an anomaly. What we are going to do, we need to act. We cannot just see an anomaly and not do nothing. It would be no use for anybody. So we use a mental process, which is called heuristics, and there are mental shorthand that uses previous experience and knowledge of a similar problem to be able to speed up the decision-making process. So the heuristics are the fast way to access. So if you are in a combat, you have 3 choices, and one is attack, kill, or something. Okay, so they know that if they have a danger, they need to go through that. But for us, we don't need to go through that. So for us civilians, if we can see something that is odd, we have a choice of 3 choices. So we confront, we report, or we escape. Okay, you are outside the bank, somebody's coming without uniform, but you can detect he's got a gun. So automatically you think it's not in a uniform, so it's not police. Why he's got a gun? So you can confront, you can report and escape. I wouldn't confront somebody like that. So I would properly report to someone inside the bank, or if there is a police outside, and I would escape, or, you know, position myself in a different situation and then call the police. So how you build the awareness? The awareness, you memorize your smell, the sound, the sight of those familiar places, so you can recognize them. Observe negative places, ladies. When you go out, negative places in the dark can be even between 2 cars. Okay, those between places where criminals generally like to stay. And wherever you go, you need to build your survival plan. You go in a big mall, your fire escape, you go in, you think, oh, let me go, if there is a fire, where I can go. Then you carry on doing your shopping. Okay, so always remember to have an escape route. If there is an escape route, where to hide? Better if you hide in a place where you cover 360, so nobody can see you. And if you not have any of these things, be prepared to fight. At least you fight something that you can use, you know, to prevent to be attacked. In this case, for example, now, if you have a fire in your house, do you have a plan, for example? So you need to create the baseline. That's very important. Remember, not all the anomalies are threats, but all the threats are anomalies. And before we finish, I wanted just to tell you what's happened to me the other day, just to give you an idea. So I went downtown Southampton, and I wanted to go and buy some glue, art and craft. So I went in the shop. It's a shop, it's an art and craft shop. I've been there many other times. Who goes there sell things for children, mainly books for children and art and craft for children. And you see families and children in there. While I was looking around, 4 men, they enter. Nothing wrong with that. They can come and buy things for their children. But the thing is that they start to mess it around. They start to talk to each other loudly, make a joke. They were touching everything. So for me, that was an anomaly because they were touching everything and not buy anything. So I positioned slowly myself towards the fire escape. I straight away positioned where the fire escape was, and slowly I went close to the fire, to the door, waiting to see what's happening. Nobody was looking at those men except me and the lady at the cashier, because I think she was thinking that they were going to steal something. Then they came towards me, and slowly I went towards the exit, you know. And then after they left. So what I want to say is it was nothing, but it doesn't take much just to be aware, you know. Just be aware, because it takes really for everything. You can be in the park and suddenly you feel a bit odd and you don't know why. It may be a dog that is very aggressive and is coming towards you to bite you. Anyway, the last video. Is everybody okay? So I want to just finish with a bit of a piece of cheerful video. We actually don't need to be like him, but here you are, my favorite Pink Panther.
Monsieur Clouseau's residence. One moment, please. For you, Chief Inspector Dreyfus.
Yes, sir. You're back on the force. Come to my office. Immediately. Immediately, sir. Well, Keto, I am back on the force. You know, Keto, your freezer ambush plan, I really congratulate you. It was very, very good. But Keto, your fly is undone. And so, my friend, are you?
So Cato was not pay attention, see, at the end. So that was the end. So remember, even though I've done it so many years of martial art, if you don't see the danger coming, even for a man, if you don't see the danger coming, it's too late because you don't have the chance to protect yourself. However, even for me, sometimes I'm not, I'm looking at my phone, but be aware of your surroundings is really, really, really important because nowadays we live in a society when things happen without even, it can happen anytime. And I think it's very important to know that it can happen to us too, not just to the others, and be prepared, especially for the ladies to listen to their instinct. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elisabetta. That was really, really interesting. Does anybody in the group have any questions? The chat box was quiet on throughout the presentation.
I shocked them.
I think, yeah, and we enjoyed all the videos, which really brought it all to life.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, I'm always, I used to teach to the girls, okay, going to university. It's really important to understand who's your enemy, okay? Because only in that way you can defeat, you can take, you can remove yourself from a dangerous situation. And everybody, we all been through a situation where we didn't like what was happening. And it's very, very, very important.
Elisabetta, I was wondering, with your example of being in the shop, the arts and crafts shop, when the 4 men came in, where is the line, in your opinion, between personal safety and kind of societal responsibility? Because I think some people in that position might be a bit torn between looking after themselves and then trying to kind of help other people or alert other people.
The things that in this situation, I don't know, many times happen that people get assaulted in the middle of the road on the daylight, because remember, a lot of assault, they come during the daylight, not at night, because we have less attention. The guard is down because we think there is so many people, especially in shopping mall, parking lot. Those are the most dangerous places where the criminals go and find their victim, because they won't go in a isolated alley. Okay, there are no victims there. They go where there are people. And everybody going to the mall, and we're thinking we are a lot, and nobody is going to assault me, because it seems that everybody's looking at each other, but everybody, they think the same, and nobody will help you. You need to help yourself. And it is very important to understand, to have this state of mind, because remember, even police, the forces, you can call them, but by the time they come, it can be late. So you have the responsibility to protect yourself. Then when you're safe, you can protect the other. Many years ago, I was in Rome on a bus with my son. At that time, it was a little one, so it was quite windy, and he wanted to sit. Fine. So I found a place for him. I was standing, and while I was standing on the bus, like the man in front of me, I just look at it. I like to look around, and the man in front of me, while he was sitting, had a hammer on his knee. So why somebody would go on the bus with a hammer? Something is, not right. So I took my boy that he was complaining, and I got on the other side, at the bottom of the bus. As soon as I could, I rang the bell and I got out of the bus. There was the police. I called the police, and then the police, and I told them what's happening. And by the time I get off, I was lucky, because by the time I get off, the guy will start to smash all the. But you see, I noticed the others. I was the only one that look at it. And if somebody's got a hammer, you will not defeat him. There is no martial art. You get the hammer on your head. You got bruises anyway. So attention. I don't know. For me, it's been always very important. It comes natural to me. Do not lay your trust on other people, because fundamentally human beings are selfish. Otherwise, it wouldn't be survival. We wouldn't be here otherwise. We must be selfish. We can't otherwise. And as I said, if you see a danger, you can confront, you can report. But report and escape, confront is always, and I don't know, you might see something odd that is odd for you, but maybe it's not that odd. But it's better to prevent, and look silly, rather than said, oh, I should have done this and this and this, in my opinion. Because there have been so many cases, especially women, that they died from these reasons. Anyway.
Well, Louise says, thank you. It was fascinating, Elisabetta, and she said it makes perfect sense. She said she now knows a new term, heuristics. And Jan says,
baseline.
Yeah. And Jan says, thanks for a good reminder to stay alert, and we can all become complacent and forget. And it was absolutely a brilliant reminder to us all. And those videos perfectly highlighted how easy it is not to spot really important things.
Yeah. One thing, so I want to tell everybody, just do this experiment. Go to a mall. Now they are open, or even just a restaurant or a cafe. Sit there, have your coffee with your back against the wall, and look at the human race, and then see how many they actually pay attention at what happened around them. Then you see. It's fascinating to see how people behave.
And people constantly living on their phones now must just be a criminal's paradise.
Yeah, it is. But I think a few years back, there was a campaign, I think in the States, because a lot of kids that got run over. My son is 22, and I'm always telling him, when you go somewhere, check where is the fire escape. check where is this. Yeah. But I know he doesn't do it, but it's always good to remind him anyway. It might come out, you know, in a moment of need.
Yeah. Well, Elisabetta, thank you so much. That was brilliant. And thank you, everybody who's attended this evening. I know we're a small group, but this will go online afterwards. So if you have anyone that you think might be interested in following up on it afterwards, it will be on our YouTube channel. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for attending, and have a lovely rest of your evenings.
Yeah, thank you. And be alert all the time. Huh? Be aware of your surrounding.
Thank you, Elisabetta. Take care.
Bye, everybody. Bye.